Hello, dosto. My today's topic for the discussion is very specific, and on this topic, I'm going to talk about the introduction part of any interview. Whenever we go and face an interview, the interviewer first question which is raised from the interviewer side is that is your introduction. He might ask you, tell me something about yourself, or introduce yourself, or he can ask you in many other different ways. But when you interact with the interviewer, it may be a panel of interviewers or it may be a single table interview. What you are supposed to tell to the interviewer? These things are really very important and we must be knowing. And before we face any interview, we must practice it because this is very important, very crucial. So I just wanted to tell you what are the facts and figures that you are supposed to introduce into your intro part. The very first thing is this. First of all, you decide whether you are an experienced guy or just an fresher who is going to face the interview. So let's say if you are a fresher, so what is the topmost thing that you are carrying with you? That is obviously your education. So, what is the first thing that you are going to elaborate is your education, and into your education also that should be your first thing that you explain about your highest qualification. Then you go gradually first your highest education, then your second education, then your matriculation or anything, whatever you have done. But in case if you are an experienced guy, then you are supposed to explain about your experience first, then your education, and then about your family. And if the interviewer is willing to know about your hobbies and interest, but the very first thing is if you are an experienced guy, you must be explaining about your past job or your recent job. What was your profile or what is your profile, what all are you doing before that, what all you did, what was your profile, which company you are working for or you are working for, and the most important thing is what is your profile and what are the challenges you meet on day-to-day basis, and what are the things that encourage you to do the things. These things must be explained into your intro part. If you explain these things into your intro part, the interviewer would be taking an interest into listening to you. And in any of the interview, your introduction is the first thing which makes interviewer to listen to you for further question and answer session. So before we go to further question and answer sessions, we must be prepared for our what do you call intro part, which is very important. What I believe, because if your intro part is not that interesting or somebody is not willing to listen, then almost we are done at that time only. So what we are supposed to do that make your introduction interesting. It must be something that the guy is the person who is listening to you is interested, is getting is your introduction is creating interest in his mind and he is willing to listen furthermore about you and about your career, about your last job or your education, your achievements or whatever, whatsoever. So I would just tell you people that in your introduction part, first of all, the very first thing you're supposed to tell is your if you are an experienced guy, explain your recent to past job whatsoever. If you have already left your job, then obviously explain your recent past job, or if you are working, explain your current job, or if you are not having any sort of experience, then in that case, you are supposed to explain your highest education in detail. Then you go about your family, then you go about your interests and hobbies and rest of other things. But the very first thing is your introduction has to be very clear and very short. It has to be very interesting so that the person, the next who is listening to you, must be, having interest to listen so that he could derive some further questions and he could ask you the questions related to your job or your education or whatsoever. Thank you.